Good morning, Reed here. I'm back at my home down here with the chickens, and I thought I'd give you a little autumnal update of what's happening around here. So this chicken coop run zone is on a slope, and in the winter to come out here and give them all of the compost scraps, it's a bit slippery. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I put this chain link fence at a small little section I got from a client a while back down on the ground, and I'm hoping that that will actually help to make it less slippery when it's all muddy and rainy out here. Behind the fence here is an IBC container. I got it up into its relative spot. I need to level out the ground a bit there, and then off of the gutter system up there I'm gonna put in a T and then have the water shoot out from just below the downspout over to the tank there. These couple of tanks here are full. This one there is mostly full, and that's where the water's coming out for the chickens to actually get it. And when that system is totally activated, I ought to have enough water on hand to get through the dry summer spell without having to pull from my actual rain tanks that are what we take our water from. Now, other things that are going to happen is, let's see if we can see this, where my fence line ends down below here, you can see some serious picking away at the earth right along. And then here, I'll just flip. You can see that over here, because I had a gap under the fence, I put down some, found fencing material, and the root damage is a lot less. So I am going to add in some more fence material down below here, and then I'm going to come in with some comfrey and some mint and other things of that sort and fill in the earth space there. And what am I going to fill in that gap with the earth or the fence with? So I got this old tub here that I had as I thought it would be a good spot for some vermiculture happening, but it's not. And so I'm going to take that apart, take the fencing material that you can see on there and line the fence over there, and then get this out of here because it's kind of awkward. I've got my door opener at the end of the coop run over there, and I don't know if you saw, my wife's got a video on her channel, like a short, of a bald eagle being in this particular area right here. It came in through my little small opening here where you can see this little fir tree, and it couldn't get out because it doesn't know how to look up. Imagine that, huh? We all have our places that we can't see. So here I am in the coop space. I got a bunch more leaves and things that are happening here. Let's again added this little box of diatomaceous earth because they're not going to want to be dusting it out there. This is my manure pile. So I put in these perforated tubes to move the air through it in an attempt to better manure-y compost type of a thing. And since I didn't do them just straight up, they're not coming out of there until I clear it. So I added a fun little tool hanger in here. This blue bin has my biochar. I've been buying it at our local grocery store, which is cool that they sell it there. This is my rat trap that is not working at all. It's got a bunch of water in the bottom of it with peanut butter covered styrofoam pieces. And I'll be completely filling up the food bin here in a moment. Reserves I want on hand for the winter. And stepping outside, flip it around. So there's the water barrel. That way I can easily check to see how much water is in when I come in. I'm gonna clean off the roof again. And here's my experimental garden space this year. You can see I've got some potatoes and some squash that are there. and I'll be the squash. Oh, there's one on that one, and it's very immature. Don't think it'll amount to anything. This is like hardcore dry forest up here. This bale amounted to nothing. I'm pretty sure I put a potato under there. Whereas this bale, I'm curious to see how those potatoes did. The sunflowers did all right. The calendula there did okay. We had some rains over the last couple days, so everything's looking a bit better. Here's another. So this potato plant, I mounded up a bunch of different mulch materials around it, and it's gone down by about half. The geranium that's in with this calendula mix, they just don't mind the lack of anything. Like, let me give you an idea of size here. Like, there's my hand, that's a squash. So for these couple beds, if you want to call them that, I'm gonna actually dig up the landscape here. You can see another one of those tiny squash just right there. I'm gonna actually dig up the earth a bit and do like a really small scale hugelkultur. Now in my manure stack there's a fair amount of biochar in the mix, so that should help with keeping the soil more hydrated, and ideally with adding some branchy material that's kind of small, that will also help keep the soil more hydrated. And I'm going to do that, maybe like, it's almost the end of 2024, so maybe October, November. Here's a walnut I planted a year or so ago. That one's doing all right. And then I come around here, and this one, it's still showing signs of life, but it's clearly been eaten on. And then the other one that's over there, it's totally dead. Here's a bunch of branching material. So it's stuff like that that I'm going to put into the hole. Oh, my kids are... And I probably want to get into this area and just weed whack it down. At some point it'll get fenced off, but I really don't know when that's going to happen. Let's keep going this way. See some more of what's happening in the backyard space. How's your backyard coming? Or front yard, depending on how your home space is set up. Now I got some leftover building materials here. They're not a lot, but they keep getting shot out, and so I'm wondering what creature is doing all that. So let's see. Coming over this way. So basically there'll be a bed here from where that furthest squash plant is, coming right up here in a bit of a triangular shape. And then there'll be another one here, so that way I have my cross path. And then I think I'm just going to do a triangle space in here, because I can walk in front of my tarp zone, which has like building materials in it and some gardening stuff. Now there's a currant plant, which I'm pretty happy about, and a tiny little oak that came up since I blocked off this area. Now this was, I moved back the chicken fence. It went all the way to this big fir tree here, and that was kind of my most productive space in the garden. I got another tool hanger device, so I'm going to get some more tools up. And you see the remnants of my potato tower. It totally sucked. It did not work at all. But there's a nice little kale patch. I like greens in my breakfast, so it's great to come out here every morning, feed the chickens, get my greens. The eggs have been gathered from the night before. And then this area is, I don't know how I'm going to approach it. I've got a couple small apple trees here. Let's go check those out for a second. So there's one of them right here. It's got a bit of damage on it. It's not getting quite as much water as these other two, which look a lot healthier. There it is. A friend of mine had some extra apple trees, and here's the other one. Because there's a path to a little cabin that's here, and I thought it'd be nice to have some overarching apples in the forest. That's a gumi, this little elongated leaf there. It's yellowing. That'll become a much bigger bush, and the calendula are doing great. So as I come up here, here's my Rocket Mass heater project. I need to get out here and draw some circles on my hardy board. That's my back vent, and that's the one that'll go underneath this barrel. And then the mass is in the greenhouse space here. The tarp I put up because I'm going to want to cover this when I'm actually working out here, because it could easily rain on the whole situation. And then another IBC container. So there's under the roof, that's my pots and stuff, and some other amendments on the other side of it. I need to rehang this. I need to get some grommets and put the back up there so it doesn't just get totally soaking wet in there with my faux floor shelf that I made. But the IBC container, I'm going to cut that probably like a foot or so down, and then convert that into an aquaponics chamber, and that will then, so the top will get flipped over for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, and that'll be a grow bed, and then it's going to go into the greenhouse. Let's head in there for a second. Go this way. And I'm gonna, I think, have 4, maybe 5 horizontal tubes along this wall here. You can see the IBC container just out through that window. And then here's my day bed that will become the mass for the Rocket Mass heater project. And the bricks for that project. I got my little propane thing over here, and you can see the little propane heaters in there. One for turning this into a heated space is I don't have enough room to work out in my house in the ways that I want to, and this is a small enough space, and I heated it for drying purposes the last couple of years, and it actually got pretty comfortable in here. So even though there's like a bunch of holes, this is a very ramshackle thing. It was here when I got here, and it's easily enough heated, so I'll be able to come in here with this heater, which I need to start doing sooner than later, and bring my workout gear, a couple weights and a balance board and stuff like that. Ideally, I'll be doing some videos about that. And the order of operations is I want to get the Rocket Mass heater accomplished first. I would show you the inside, but it's so flimsily put together right now. So that's my October, November goal, and then I'll work on getting the chicken water set up. Kind of don't want to get it set up until late February because we usually have snows and a moment of freezing, and I don't, if my water system here is going to break, I like it to break while it's small instead of having a whole extra thing. But the IBC in back is elevated enough that I ought to be able to run a hose into my chicken coop to do my indoor watering for them as well. And then I just got to get my heat lamp over, which I use to keep the indoor water watery instead of frozen. And besides that, that's what's happening in the backyard here at my home. And yeah, let me know if you have any comments or questions or ideas for things. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Have too much fun.